For those of you who are just joining our show around the country and should have joined us earlier, our guests tonight are Donna Summer, Patrick Duffy, Ray Johnson, and this gal, who's one of my favorite people. She is a most talented, pretty gal, and a very good friend, Miss Suzanne Pleshette. How are you, babe?
That's very funny. I think I'll tell Tommy that the Pope looks like Jimmy Durante. He'll punch me out.
Were you a June bride, incidentally?
No, March 16th. We got married. Wouldn't get married on the Ides of March because I knew everybody would say to him, beware the Ides of March.
You're right.
And you don't marry an Irish person on St. Patrick's Day because they'll never remember.
Yes. That's right.
It took him 2-3 days after St. Patrick's Day to remember who I was.
I suppose June brides get married because that's supposed to be the most romantic time. I don't know why.
I don't know. I've never been married in June. But life isn't over.
Now, when you do a joke like that in a jesting form,
yes.
Does that make Tommy angry?
Probably, but he doesn't listen. You know.
So you heard all those rules for a successful marriage.
Well, I've lived my life by Ann Lander's rules. Not in my marriage. I've lived in my marriage by your rules. What you know.
I have very high standards.
By the way, you
Yes.
have the cutest feet. You've never really showed your naked feet here to the audience, have you? With all due respect,
are you into feet,
the other parts are cute, too.
Yeah?
But I saw him on the beach last week.
Yes.
And you just took my breath away.
Oh, come on.
Took my breath away. I came out of the shade to see who it was.
Yes, right. You're not just my feet, that's all?
Well, I don't want to go into it because Joanna will punch me out. She's with Tommy in the jacuzzi now.
I don't. I don't have a large...
No, you have gorgeous feet. I'm serious. I do look at feet.
Well, now, come on. Don't be silly. No, what? I've been doing this show a long time. That is the silliest thing request I've ever... Show me your feet, I mean...
Maybe at least...
Go ahead.
I mean, I just mentioned it. I didn't expect that, you would take your clothes off.
Maybe 1 foot.
Which one? See, he knew which is the better foot, too. Oh, God, I get so hot.
Now, now, you got me into this.
All
now,
right.
Well, what?
Well, it's just
I didn't think you'd
it's a
carry
nice
this
foot. Now, that's just about the silliest thing.
Well, have I ever lied to you? Are those not great
Are those...
One. You give good foot. Now, the other one has that strange tattoo. I know why.
Well, the other one says...
Love and hate.
Love and hate on one side. I mean, we all have our problems. Well, I suppose that's the high spot of the show, folks. But those of you around the country who are just joining us, I'll show you my foot later. We'll be right back. We have to take a break here. Aye. Thank you, Doc. We're talking with Suzanne Pleshette, and Donna Summer will join us, and Patrick Duffy and Ray Johnson. You have been in how many westerns? 6, 7 westerns?
7 westerns.
Somebody told me for your recent movie of the week. What was it, Kate Bliss?
Kate Bliss and the Ticker Tape Kid.
Did you finally had to learn how to ride?
Yes. I've done 7 westerns where I mount with great authority and then scream. Because the wrangler holds the horse, legs, tail, nose, everything. If it breathes, I get off.
And they do the close-up, you mean?
You see me go, and if it moves, I get dissolve.
Do they do those things in motion pictures? Now, I know they do, but I've never been on the lot when they do it, but I can tell occasionally.
The old rocking...
They would actually put the star on a horse doing it out, and just with a rocking thing, right? And stagehands would be there, then the camera would come back, And you can always tell it, didn't it?
Yeah, they don't do that anymore because the public is so sophisticated.
Yeah, and you just see this guy sitting here like this, and they're talking and they're racing, and you hear the sound beautifully, but they don't do that anymore.
No.
So how do you cheat it if you have to ride?
You don't.
Now you have to ride.
I had to go learn how to ride. So wisely, what they did was they gave me a 10-year-old boy as my teacher. Because you cannot tell a 10-year-old boy you're afraid. And my horse was a mountain. And I had to learn to mount and dismount and ride around because in this show I really just had to do more than I usually do, which is get on and hold a rein and then...
Do they scare you or what?
No, I just don't know what I'm supposed to do.
Which side do you get on from?
The horse's side?
Yeah.
This side. Here's the horse. This side.
Left side, yeah.
Yeah, put my... Wait a minute. Yeah. Put my left leg in and swing my right leg around, and then I'm facing in the same direction that the horse is headed. Providing I can get up there. Now, I'm out there with this 10-year-old person who I cannot tell. I'm frightened because this giant horse. And there's a school of kids. You know, they're all 11. They've been riding since they're 2. Not only can I not get up because the horse is so big, but my pants were too tight. So I get my left foot in the stirrup, and then I'm, trying to grab I had pulled a bald spot in that poor thing's mane. And then I got embarrassed. So I said, I really know this now. I rode around once or twice. But I thought, well, I'm lucky because it's Don Meredith. You know, he's from Texas. He knows how to ride. So the first day, we get on, he's on the horse, and they put me on the back, and we ride off like the wind. And we do this whole scene half a day. And finally, Don says to me, boy, I was scared. And I said, what, first
Texas.
day? And he said, no, I don't know how to ride. Now, I'd been there all day, riding on the back, and all I had to hold on to was his waist. Because they said to me, don't get your feet in the back by the horse's...
flanks.
Yeah, because, you give him a kick and he gets cranky. So we're done.
As we all, yes, as we all
So
would.
he said, I don't know how to ride. I said, but you're from Texas. He said, yeah, but my father was a haberdasher. He didn't get too many calls for horses while he was selling shirts.
Everybody figures if you're from Texas, you automatically ride. It's like if you are from Nebraska or the Midwest like I was, you were supposed to have lived on a farm, which I never did. So he hadn't ridden.
Well, I grew up in the middle of New York City. I didn't have a lot of calls, I went in a hansom cab once, but we had to, and I was supposed to be very efficient at everything I did, And at one point, he gets off the horse. Now, he swung off the wrong leg. Then he's supposed to help me off. My foot got hooked on the saddle horn. He fell down. I fell down on top of it. His gun fell out. These are the things that never get on the air,
You have those outtakes?
It was wonderful. They must, And then, of course, at one point I had to ride in. I just went sailing up in the air. I looked so ridiculous,
Those are the wonderful things that they call outtakes. They might not have had the camera running at that time, but people love those things. Somebody, I think Jack Warner, sent me one day some outtakes from pictures, old-time pictures, and they're wonderful.
Oh, they're fabulous.
And these were from back like the early Westerns when the hero wore the white hat, the villain was always dressed in black. And I think it was somebody like Ken Maynard, the big star of the day, and they had the confrontation between the rangers or the cattle people and the sheep herders, and they did this scene about 20 times, and all the guy had to say is, "If you don't think we're coming through your land, then you got to," and they would do that, and you'd hear something. Cut. Now he'd get back on the horse, and about the 15th time, it gets hysterical. Because now you go up and you can't remember the line at all.
We used to do that every year, on the Newhart show. Yeah. We would keep the outtakes and show it as a Christmas reel. But I did a film with somebody at Warner Brothers who must remain nameless, who could not speak and move simultaneously. And they were trying to put him in a picture that I was going to be in, and the producer did not want him. So he ran all this film for Jack Warner. And the guy would get up, get off a horse, try and say howdy, and fall down. And Warner ordered that burnt. And I wound up working with this guy. It was really a thrill.
No names, please.
No, I can't. Would never do that.
We were talking about marriage a while ago. You did a very nice thing that seems to be, I don't know whether it's a trend, but certain people are doing it from time to time. You've been married to Tom 10 years. You went in, repeated your marriage vows, had a little party.
Yeah. Well,
which is kind of nice to reaffirm the whole thing.
When we got married again, we had the same judge, and I called the judge's office in the Beverly Hills Courthouse, Judge Wise, and I got his secretary, and I said, "This is Suzanne Pleshette, and I'd like the judge to marry me." She said, "That'll be fine." I said, "But he's married me before." She said, "Well, that's not uncommon." And I said, "Oh, no, this is the same groom." And she said, "That's very uncommon." Then she called me back. She says, "As a matter of fact, it's never been done." And my surprise to Tommy, he knew we were going to do this. We both had decided that it meant a great deal to us because the first time you get married, you're hopeful. You think that this